Now Smith has it. DeMoss, the steal for three. Buried! Joey DeMoss. The far side. Timmons blocked again. Daly, top of the key, spinning. Daly up and one. What a play. Position Epps to Valentine. Yes, sir. Mackay with another. Corrado left, block up, and one. The Graphics up by one, now down by two. It's Davis again. Zion again. He cannot miss. Now it's Terza for the lead. Got it. Picked off. That's RJ Sledge. Sledge pulls up. Sledge and one. RJ Sledge, incredible.
Welcome into episode number 95 of the Valley Sports Guys podcast, live from His Place Coffee Community and more in Menneson. I'm Jose Negron, joined by Alex Lyons and Jeremy Salou, back from his 2-week Lowe's hiatus involving a back door that cracked. And
adulting is hard.
Yeah.
Adulting is
just
expensive
all
as
at
well.
a very bad time. During the holiday season. But nonetheless, good to have you back, buddy. Excited to talk about some winter sports action as we are now kind of into the...
Just a little bit.
Yeah, just a little bit as we've kind of hit the beginning of section play, but also teams that have been still kind of finishing off their non-section slate as well as we...
Roll doors?
Yeah. Roll doors, I guess. The Commodores are rolling here early on. Some teams that are kind of in the thick of some very big non-section slates. Of course, last night we had a big non-section matchup between a pair of Mon Valley schools in Bell Vernon and McKeesport. Alex, you and I were there.
Yep.
We'll kind of start out with that.
And coaches or ADs, if we get any of you watching or listening, if you add a player to your roster in the middle of the season, please tell us.
Yeah, that's probably the best.
Just send us an email. It's not that hard.
Well, let's talk about when they add games.
Yeah.
No,
Send
that
us
too.
an email.
Yeah.
Because there was a pretty big one we missed last night because, I mean...
Are you talking about the Central Catholic SA one?
Yes.
That's.
Yes.
I'll take the blame. I knew about that game.
I didn't know about
I
it.
also knew about that game. Jeremy, we kind of assumed that Jeremy did know about that
Yeah,
game.
Mike emailed me about that
You know what they
one.
say about assumption.
No, I think they just
What did
figured
he say about us?
It's the mother of all, and then we're going to leave it at that.
Okay.
they thought Jeremy was getting a new fridge this time, so they just were leaving him out.
Maybe.
They didn't want to bother
The
him.
fridge is on the list,
No,
but not yet.
he was getting a dryer.
I got a dryer, and now
Oh, yeah.
I had a
Back screen
consultation for
Oh, they didn't even
my
fix
whole
it?
door.
They fix it?
Not yet, no. I've got to
that's
do a
not
GoFundMe for like $1,500 that the insurance won't cover. So, hey,
If anyone's
anyway.
interested in donating to Jeremy's game.
Real life problems suck.
Yes,
so.
they do.
But I guess into that game for last
Yeah,
night?
we'll touch on that to start out. We'll recap yesterday's action, talk a little bit about some of the teams that have gone off to hot starts here in the Mon Valley. And the Bell Vernon area Leopards are out to a 3-1 start. Victory over McKeesport last night. And, this is a team that was down 51-50 with 4.5 to go. Final 4 minutes, a 15-4 run that really allowed them to get this victory over McKeesport, a 65-55 win on the road. We know how hard it is to play if you're a road team inside that Nene Campbell Gymnasium. It's definitely a home court advantage for McKeesport every time they're on their home floor. But I think that Bell Vernon showed a lot down the stretch there, and Coach Salvino always preaches how important it is for them to run their offense, be patient. And it seemed like during that last stretch, the Leopards were patient with their offensive approach, and it paid off.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, Zion, of course, big offensive performance again. Tommy Davis, I think, ran into his first true problem of the season. Keith Spell is just an absolute menace underneath for that McKeesport Tigers. A big body guy, and I think that threw Tommy off his game a little bit last night. But, Bell Vernon, they got back into things. You can tell Curdy Wade, Alonso still trying to get back from football realm. Alonso played extremely well last night, got in foul trouble. But, Curdy missed probably 5, 6, 7 shots that he would tell you he needs to make every single time, easy layups. And on the other side of things, defensively for Belvern, I thought Trevor Kovac was fantastic on the defensive side of the ball. But, a lot of kids cramping up and getting into some weird predicaments last night. We saw it on both sides of the ball, and it was just an all-around interesting game. And kind of script is different for Bell Vernon this year after an abysmal start last year, obviously with everyone missing, but lost their first on a controversial loss to South Allegheny. They've won their last 3, and they have the reinforcements. They don't have the depth from last year, but now they're starting to get in the thick of things. And then McKeesport, it's the same old story. Last year won their first game, then would go on to lose their next 6. Well, they won their first game. Now they've lost what is 3 in a row for the Tigers, who are just trying to kind of figure it out, who's going to step up, who's going to be that big guy. And it looked like, obviously, Lamont Perkins is going to be their catalyst, but Brian Jones looked fantastic until he had to exit with a knee injury in that game last night as well.
Yeah, Jones, 11 first-half points for him. Lamont Perkins had 9 of his team-high 21 points during, I believe, that third quarter where McKeesport was trying to rally back from their 7-point halftime deficit. But I want to go back to Bell Vernon because, you talk about a lack of depth, and I think, obviously, when you look at last year, and Coach Salvino is very adamant of, he wants to talk about this year's team and what they have here. But you look at last year, you have Quentin Martin starting. You have Braden Locks, for the most part, starting. Diabre Lightfoot coming off the bench. I think that's a huge loss.
That's
for
the
them
biggest
too.
one, just because I think you expected the other two almost not
Right.
to be here. Diabre is the biggest one that didn't.
Also, Diabre also had knee surgery.
Yeah.
Right.
Even if he was going to play this year.
It's not really the same
but
situation.
I think they're really going to miss him on the defensive end.
Absolutely.
For sure.
And that's the thing, too, is, last night, they had some guys come in and off the bench. Dom Galani had 2 big buckets during that late 15-4 run.
Yeah.
I thought that was pretty
Dom's
big.
an athlete. I mean,
Yeah.
we know that. He's a good football player, and you hope maybe just play some meaningful minutes off the bench. And he's been in the system. He's played varsity minutes before, so you kind of hope maybe that's something he gets. And then you have some of your younger guys that are going to get more and more comfortable in there. I think a guy we didn't see last night is Dane Doherty. I think he's going to play a decent amount this season off the bench, kind of helping give Tommy Davis a blow and another big underneath.
Even Minetti came off the bench and gave them some quality minutes when they needed him to. And late when Tommy Davis fouled out, that's when Galani came in and had a couple big buckets. Of course, Zion Moore with 2 great assists on those plays. You mentioned Trevor Kovac, his energy, what he brought on the defensive end.
Do you know how many assists by chance he had last night?
I think 7.
I was going to say, it was. I could tell it was a lot.
I remembered one in particular where he got a steal and then quickly sent it down the floor to, I think, either Alonzo or Zion, and they were able to finish off a nice transition bucket. And that just all night, that was kind of what he was doing, was, creating havoc on the defensive end of the floor and being a good facilitator. So, Bell Vernon has talent here. There's no question about it. It's just a matter of, putting it all together once it comes to section play, because this section's not going to be easy. Obviously you have Laurel Highlands. It's a little, that's down without, without Rodney Gallagher, without Keandre DeShields, and some of their weapons. But Uniontown is still the cream of the crop, still one of the favorites in 4A. Elizabeth Forward has been really good.
Southmoreland's undefeated. I think they're, 5-0 go before last night. I don't know what they did last night or if they even played last night, but it's one of those. They've been very good. And I think that's a team that you're going to see give Bell Vernon troubles.
Yeah.
Just because, obviously, I think we talked about what Keith Spell did. I think Ty Keffer will give Tommy Davis troubles as well. I think Tommy's more inclined to play better against a Kadrian McLean, even though McLean's the best out of all 3 of them, just because of Kadrian's not just a massive human being. Kadrian's well put together, but he's 6'6", and he's a wide receiver. I mean, Tommy Davis, I think, matches up physically better against a Kadrian McLean than he does against a Ty Keffer, and he does against a Keith Spell, who are just kind of bigger bullies underneath. But I think Kadrian McLean is going to be a tall challenge as well for Tommy Davis, who – he's averaging 15 and 14 before last night's game, and still got 10 and 7 in that game with fouling out.
Right. So Bell Vernon will be in action next week at the Charleroi Holiday Tournament. They'll be facing the host Cougars on Friday night. And meanwhile, McKeesport, I believe, will be playing Laurel Highlands on Saturday. So those are the next matchups for those two teams. McKeesport, a very young team. They're only 4 games into the season, so they're still going to try to figure things out
And
as
I
the year
think
goes on.
I wouldn't be surprised if you see a similar situation to last year with McKeesport. They get hot at the end, obviously.
Well, yeah, I mean, you look at, Lamont Perkins is the leader of this team, and he's only a sophomore, so, and, Keith Spell's a guy who's going to be, counted on as a veteran leader this year as well.
And he'll be committing on Christmas, either
yeah.
Clarion or Cal.
We talked about that. The California Vulcans might be getting
All 3 of them?
a group of really talented McKeesport
that
players.
highway from McKeesport to the Mon Valley,
not just Keith Spell, but Courtney Dunn. I believe
would not
Bray,
be
you said too.
surprised.
Bray has a California offer.
Yeah.
So a
I
couple
think
guys
it was
that I
Cal,
saw.
Clarion, and St. Francis.
I think
for
I saw,
Bray, or is that done?
I think that was done.
That was done.
Yeah. But I saw Bobby Boyd tweeting out. He's like, "Oh man, maybe I'm gonna get some more McKeesport guys here with me." So, which is awesome. I mean, these are kids that are really talented players, and Coach Gary Dunn, I'm sure would love to have them over in California. But we'll see where they decide to commit on Christmas Day. Is that for all of them?
I don't.
I think they both said. I know Dunn and
Spell
Dunn
100%
Spell
said
Christmas
Yeah,
Day.
Spell I saw last night or right before the game tweeted out the 25th. So
which really makes me think they're going to go to the same place. Which the only one they had in common was Cal.
Right.
yeah, so
Right.
And with Boyd there, they're still going to get love from us. I think there's a good shot, because the other thing that was interesting was on Dunn's, final 3, there was only one D2 school on there. It was Cal. So I wouldn't be surprised if we keep that McKeesport connection.
and it's I don't always think that's the worst decision. I mean,
Cal has put players in the NFL.
That too, and if you want to go up, you can move up it from a California to a very good program. So why not go get on the field for a year or 2 and then make your decision if you want to move to somewhere else? And I think that's almost the better option in today's day and age, when in today's transfer portal situation, for guys that are maybe those tier in between players. They could go D1, they could go D2, but if you go D2, you're probably going to see the field right away. That's almost better, because you're developing, you're getting thrown into the fire right away, and if you eventually go to the next level or a higher D1 school, you're going to be battle tested. I mean, again, you see it time in and time again. Look at all the JUCO kids.
Look at Tyson Bagent.
Tyson
starting
Bagent
for the Bears this year.
Jaquan Brisker out of Gateway. He went from JUCO to Power 5 to starting safety for the Chicago Bears. I mean, it's not a bad option in any means with the way the transfer portal is run nowadays. And I think you look at that and it kind of, persuades guys, okay, maybe this is a better option to start, and let's get on the field early on here.
Yeah, plenty of talent from California that's been able to play in the league. I mean, look at Eric Harris. I believe he's playing for the 49ers now. He had has had a very nice long career. He played with the Falcons for a number of years. So there's plenty of California guys who've gone to the NFL, and plenty of Division II talent as well. So the PSAC is filled with talented players. So if you're deciding to go there, if you're good enough, you're going to get noticed. There's no doubt about that.
Oh, absolutely.
But we'll run through a quick recap of yesterday's action. Of course, we mentioned South Allegheny Central Catholic, a big 44-40 victory for South Allegheny. Michael Mahalski led the way with 14 points for the unbeaten Gladiators, who are at 6-0 to start the season. They host Blackhawk tomorrow in a home matchup. I believe their final matchup of the year, but I'm not entirely sure if they have any before the end of
Jeremy's
the season.
breaking
You
stuff.
okay?
I'm fine.
And I mean, that's a Central Catholic team last year that was fantastic. Obviously, Dante DePanti, Shebue and company, not the same unit, but I mean, it's Central Catholic. You still have talent up and down that lineup, and that South Allegheny was able to kind of go in there and take care of business at home by 4 points. And, that's what SA is going to almost have to do to start the year. Yes, you have talent offensively with Mahalski, with Cook, with Cam Epps. But, I mean, if you can win these close, low-scoring games and allow your offense to regroup when you lost over 20-plus points per game in Bryce Epps, allow that offense to build confidence while you're still winning, doing it defensively.
And did hear that there was a blow to the starting lineup last night with Drew Cook going out the first minute of the second half with what appeared to be a sprained ankle. So not sure if that's going to keep him out of the lineup long term.
Well, at least, you have a nice little break here. Even
yeah.
if he doesn't play in the Christmas tournament at South Allegheny, that's no harm, no foul. Get him ready for section play.
Right.
Those games don't mean anything.
And and I'm glad you mentioned the Christmas tournament because I just said I didn't know if they were playing after the Blackhawk game. But yeah, I mean, if he's out for at least,
Well, SA has their
next
Christmas
week,
tournament.
right? If he's out for at least Thursday against Blackhawk, and then through the Christmas tournament, you get him back for the new year and for section play.
I think he would like to play in the Christmas tournament because one of those games on the schedule is against the Warriors of Elizabeth Forward.
Yeah, so we'll see what happens there, but obviously we wish Drew Cook the best, and hopefully that's not a serious thing for him. You mentioned the Elizabeth Forward Warriors. They continue to roll here in the early going. A 70-51 win over Bethel Park. They're 5-1 to start the season. EF pulled away there in the second half. 47 second half points for them, including 28 in the fourth quarter. Isaiah Turner with 16 points. Cy Herschelroth with 12. Christian Kennedy with 11. I think this is probably the biggest surprise. I mean, I know that there's a lot of talent, and I'm not downplaying, what they've done. But this is a nice, I think, encouraging surprise for EF to be in this position early on before you get into section play, to be at 5-1, considering some of the, the players that they lost, the players that didn't come back to play. This is a nice thing for EF to get out to this nice start.
Yeah, and I look at it this way. It's Uniontown, and then those other three spots, I think it's almost locked that it's going to be Belle Vernon, EF, and Southmoreland, in my personal opinion. I could be wrong, but I think those three could finish any which way. I think obviously Belle Vernon probably the best of the three, but I think you could see EF jump up and take the two. I think you could see Southmoreland take the two. I think, EF has surprised some people. And, I think part of the reason I'm a little surprised about what EF is doing, obviously their lone loss to Thomas Jefferson, but that game against Ringgold, and I wonder is that saying, okay, Ringgold maybe not as bad as we thought they were going to be this year. Obviously they haven't had a great record. They only have 2 wins now with that win the other night. But, they've played a lot of close games this season, have the Rams, even – throughout against a pretty good Clareton team, against Elizabeth Forward, who's been fantastic. So I think maybe the Rams a little better than we thought too. So maybe that win, even though it was only 4 points, not as bad as it may seem.
Right, and Ringgold did get a victory last night against Greensburg-Salem as well. Adam Brewer had coverage of that in today's Mon Valley Independent if you haven't picked up a copy, so be sure to do that. Rolling through the rest of the recap, Thomas Jefferson 85-58 over Laurel Highlands, 3 in double figures for the Jaguars. Evan Berger, Noah Prosser with 23 apiece. Joey Mendick with 14 in the victory for the Jaguars, who are now 6-2 in the early going of the season. They'll begin Section 1 5A play at home January 3rd, and a big matchup to start section play for TJs. They'll go up against Peters Township. That should be a pretty solid one, I think.
Yeah, they were great last year in those ones.
Yeah.
So tough start for Sarah. Now 0-2.
Catholic 70-55 lost to Greensburg Central Catholic last night. Tyree Turner 33 to lead the way for GCC. Franco Alvarez had 13 in that. Isaiah Petty had 18 for Sarah. Owen Dombrowski with 15. Pete Burke with 14 for the Sarah Catholic Eagles, who are 0-2 to start section play after a loss to Jeanette in their section opener. So the Eagles
also be better, Jeanette. Respond to me. We could have covered that game.
Yeah.
We tried to. You didn't respond.
Yeah, we'll hopefully it gets better from there.
You know what? That kind of stuff used to irritate me.
No,
now I just don't care.
No, you know why Jeanette irritates me? Because that guy got hired over me at Jeanette as the AD, and he's done a pretty bad job there. But I like where I'm at better anyway, so.
Hopefully nobody from Jeanette watches this.
Oh.
Anyways.
Who cares?
I mean, if you're the AD and I call you and say, text me, email me, call me, let me know if we can come cover you guys, common courtesy would be to get back.
Fair.
Yeah.
I agree with that. Fort Cherry 80-46 over Bentworth. Shane Cornally with 22 of Fort Cherry's points. Benjamin Hayes led the way with 24 for the Bentworth Bearcats. Charleroi, a 79-51 loss to Washington in Section 4-3A. Charleroi, please call us with your results. Girls basketball action. Bentworth, a 53-43 victory over Avella. Amber Sally with a team-high 18 points. She went 8 of 8 from the free throw line in that victory. Kayla Odell with 17 and 10 for the Bentworth Bearcats, who are now 2-6 on the year. California 57-17 over Jefferson Morgan. Rakaya Porter with 28 points in that one. She's been huge for California here in the early going, averaging well over, I think, 23, 24 points per game.
She's at 20, I think 22.6.
22.
Every time Melanie reports a score, she leaves it.
It's
leaves
pretty much
a little note. I think she's at 22.6 per game.
And I believe she's inching closer to 1,000. I told Melanie
she is getting close. She, I know, she only had 13 the other night because Haley Gibson kind of took over and was the leading scorer of their previous game before last night. But I think, Rakaya is definitely over 22 points per game. Inching in, could we see it at the girls' shootout?
We possibly
Maybe.
could. We possibly could. I know Melanie said that she's going to keep that on our radar and keep us informed with that. Baldwin with a 43-40 victory over the TJ girls. Lake and Flynn had 20 points for the Jaguars. Mary Vargo 18. Lindsay Bernotis with 10 for the Highlanders, or as we like to call them, the Fighting Liam Bellens.
Yes.
TJ will be in action at the California PA Holiday Tournament next week.
As will Bell Vernon.
They'll
Bell
be
Vernon
playing
girls are playing Olsh.
Bethel Park, but that's always an exciting tournament to get to as well. So if you want to watch some local holiday action in addition to the Charleroi tournament, get out to California, PA, and watch some over at the Convocation Center. Ringgold 43-31 over Carrick. The Rams with their second victory of the season. Kaylin Webb with a team-high 13. So just rounding out that action, Bell Vernon swimming teams also with 2 victories over Greensburg-Salem as well last night. So shout out to the LEPS swimmers for 2 victories as well. So,
well, just thank you for reporting your scores.
Yes, thank you for reporting your scores, and I believe, and EF continuously keeps writing recaps for us, which we appreciate.
Sydney Toth,
thank you,
true
Sydney.
hero. But I don't know. I just quit fighting the endless fight of, hey, report your scores. Hey, report your scores. Hey, your coach isn't reporting your scores.
Yeah.
And we still get no response. So you know what? I can't. We got plenty of other teams that do report their scores, and I'm not gonna take away from those guys.
Yeah,
so.
we appreciate the people who do. So
Yes.
But going into, we'll talk a little California PA basketball action. Jeremy,
Yes,
you've been busy over at the Convocation Center the last 2 nights.
The last 2 nights, we have made a concerted effort to, feature our local college athletics. Speaking of Penn State Greater Allegheny, we're looking for you as well. So please report your information as well. But 2 nights in a row, Shippensburg and Lock Haven at the Convocation Center. Shippensburg, the men and women, both picked up wins against the Raiders. Last night, a little bit of a different story. Lock Haven was always the doormat of the PSAC. Fresh new ranking for the Cal women, up to 13th in the nation. So what happens? Lock Haven comes in and gets the upset.
Yep.
But, Coach Jess Strom said, hey, this isn't an upset. That's a really good team. They picked up a win against Seton Hill on Monday. Come to Cal, pick up a win there. Cal, unfocused, a little bit undisciplined play, shot only 36% on their home floor. Can't have that. That's kind of a recipe for disaster.
It's
but
the second time that they've struggled in the first half, because
yes.
they did against Fairmont State, too, and had to come back.
Yeah, but who's not struggling? The Cal U men.
Yep.
Sorry, and it's always going to be Cal U, so we're just going to throw that disclaimer out there. But the Cal U men heading into the Christmas break, 11-0, 4-0 in the PSAC, also ranked number 13 in the nation. 6 guys in double figures. I think my lead kind of said it. Most coaches have 2 or 3 players in double figures. They're ecstatic. Danny Sankum had 6 last night. KJ McClurg with 16 to lead. I think 3 different players, Bryson Lucas, Zion Collins, who was the other one? Donald Whitehead Jr., each added 13. Antoine Arnett, impressive redshirt freshman, by the way, added 12, and DJ Slaughter with 10. Talking to Coach Sankum, he's excited. Very unselfish play. If you haven't gone out to see these 2 teams play, even the women, even though they had a down game, exciting brands of basketball on both sides. If you like defense, go watch the women play. If you like offense, definitely go watch the men play. We have the fortunate ability to look ahead, but I think it's the middle of the week, this first week of January, Gannon comes to town. And Gannon's averaging, 107 points per game.
Yeah, it's going to be big.
Cal U's up there. They just hit 100 on Monday night. They put up 93 yesterday. So, looking ahead, that's something to watch. But, like I said, we're going to make a more concerted effort to cover. Not that we don't appreciate the love of our high school teams. But, Cal U also deserves it.
You have 2 top 25 programs. That's
absolutely. And we want to see more butts in the seats down there at that beautiful facility for sure. So, both teams doing well. Cal women now 8-2, 3-1 in the PSAC. So they're not going anywhere either. So still a very young team for the women.
And I think the big thing is, the Cal women every year are competitive, and they're one of the best programs. Just strong.
They entered the tournament last year as 3 or 4 seed from the West,
and they won the PSAC title.
They won the PSAC title. So anytime you play a defensive style like Jess Strong plays, you're in good shape.
And she's been doing this for years. They just won a national title less than a decade ago.
Right.
It's nothing new that the Cal women have been successful. The Cal men haven't been this good in quite some time.
It's been a long time since we could say, not taking away from the women, but that the men might be taking a turn as the better program at this point in time, in the Convocation Center. And
well, I guess you could say in terms of stock.
Not better program,
where they're trending.
They're trending up for sure. And, and that's something we expected to see when Coach Sankum got hired, and now the players are in place. They still have injuries. Their leading scorer from last year, Keith Palick, is still not playing. He has a foot injury. So he's hoping that he might be able to get a couple players healthy back. They resume play 10 days from now against Mansfield before returning home against Westchester after the new year.
And that's saying something that you don't have one of your – well, he was your leading scorer last year. You don't have your leading scorer, an all-conference player, but you have so much depth here, and that's something I think that they lacked last year because so many injuries. There were so many things that, Zion Collins missed all of last year.
They're running 8, 9, 10 deep off the bench, and they're tough to stop.
So, very, very cool to see the Vulcans out to an 11-0 start, 4-0 in the PSAC as they go into this break. You said, the 30th is their next game, or 31st?
The 30th on the road at Mansfield. And then they're off until the following weekend, January 3rd. I think Westchester comes to town, which is another big, especially on the women's side, that's a big game. Yeah. And then I think it's that Wednesday or Tuesday, Gannon comes to town.
Gotcha. Well, some good Vulcan talk there, talking about those California Vulcans. Doesn't quit after football season, now with basketball season coming. But anything else? Let's talk a little bit about our signings.
Yep, I think that might be a good way to go. Of course, Quentin and Charlie are early Big 2 Division I football recruits. Quentin, I think, was one of the first ones I saw on the Nittany Lion Twitter to officially sign for the Lions, and of course then Charlie Melab going out to Bucknell to continue his athletic career. As very excited to see what both of those guys do at the next level. And of course, number of wrestlers or Bentworth wrestlers signing here today as well.
Fargo. Yep.
And Vitaly Daniels, I think, both go in Edinburgh.
Both go in Edinburgh, and we're going to have coverage of their match tonight. Adam Brewer, Jeff Helsel going to the Wash High Bentworth match over at Bentworth. So we'll have a little wrestling coverage tomorrow.
There we go.
Speaking of wrestling, Friday, great environment expected. Fraser will host West Green at 10:30 in the morning in front of the student body at Fraser
I had one of the Fraser kids saying, this is the greatest thing. We're one of the few schools that has to go Friday, but we get the extra day off after break, and on Friday all we're doing is going to watch the wrestling team.
That's it. And
did you see the video of Buck from, was it at Southmoreland? Yes. Oh, absolutely incredible.
So high energy.
Love it. Love it.
He, he's tweeting out he's looking to get highlight videos, and he wants to promote the sport more in Perry.
Buck's done a great job there.
And they have started the youth program out there now. So I'm looking forward to going out to Fraser in the morning. I'm going to check out my first wrestling match in a very long time. I'll be out there with Jen Caudalupi, who is back from Mexico, I must say. So thanks to her for coming back, and maybe breakfast at Randall's on Friday. I don't know, maybe.
That's always a good time covering. Like, and it's not the easiest sport to cover.
It's not the easiest sport,
and that's why we don't broadcast it. I don't have the knowledge, but I will go cover it. Like, we went to the state championships a couple years ago when Rune claimed.
Yeah.
What was his second at that time? I think.
I think it was his second one. Yeah.
Yeah, because we didn't go last year, so
last year.
I'll probably try to go up again this year for the championships. So it's always a good time.
Yeah, we'll have coverage of that one in Saturday's edition as well. And let's see, what else can we talk about high school sports-wise before we get into the holiday spirit?
I think we get into the holiday spirit.
Well, tonight you're going to be at what? Well, nowhere. Tomorrow we have high school hockey.
EF Ringgold.
EF at Ringgold, but both teams home ice at the.
It's just changing what locker room you're in.
Right. So we'll have that as well. And anything else high school related? Before we get into the holiday spirit, we got to bring that Grinch in. Speaking of, where's your shirt? You want to show off the shirt? We got the blue. We're going to show off. We got the Bleacher Creature merchandise is in hand. So we do have some.
I'll hold one side.
We do have the Bleacher Creature gear. Hit me up on Twitter. We can get you one. I know we have a couple orders. I'm just trying to get a hold of people to pick those up. But we'll get to the Bleacher Creature real quick.
That's a good segue, I feel like, right?
Yeah, it's a good segue. I mean, but we want to bring the Grinch in. We'll talk Bleacher Creature real quick. He hit my email up early this morning sometime. Let me see here. Where are we at? I'm in my trash. Imagine that, looking for the Grinch in the trash. But we have that. Here we go. The Bleacher Creature is still grumpy and stuck on this one. So I'd like to hit the rewind, like 8 E's in there button for today. Here's a good one. Roses are red, violets are blue. The team that lost, those rings aren't for you. Again, very, very, very similar to what we have last week from the Bleacher Creature. Now, at some point, we got to stop with the everyone wins or everyone deserves this or that. Second place is the first loser. Shout out Ricky Bobby. Now that doesn't mean you shouldn't get recognition of your great accomplishments, but when is enough enough? You got a nice big trophy and individual medals that the runner-up gets. It's like, hey, here's something to remind you that you almost won. When I heard through the grapevine of a team getting rings for being runners-up, I really struggled to understand who thought that this was a good idea. Why? Why? Just why? Entitlement is an ugly thing. Until next, hold up. Jeremy, what are your thoughts on this? Loser rings. That's my thought. They are loser rings. And like the Bleacher Creature says up here, here's a nice, big, shiny ring to think about and give you a reminder of how you almost achieved your ultimate goal.
So I'm okay with the medals.
Yeah, the medals.
The medals, the runner-up.
But no, stop. Just stop it.
Yeah, the medals are what you're supposed to get. I think you just leave it at that.
Can you imagine? Here's the thing. Can you imagine Matt Humbert's reaction if the boosters came to him and said, Coach, we lost in the state championship, but let's get rings anyway? What would that reaction be?
I think the boosters are all
fired. Get the
fired.
hell out of my office.
I think all the boosters have been fired at that point at Bell Vernon.
See, here's my thing. From what I understand, do we name who it is? I guess it's not hard to figure out that we're talking about Charleroi soccer. They got to the PIAA championship, they lost. They got to the Whippeal championship, they lost. Why they're not getting Whippeal runner-up rings, right? Did the Charleroi girls get rings when they went to the state championship? Honestly, I don't know. They didn't win, so did they get rings to sell? Why are you celebrating failure?
They got medals,
they got medals. That's what you get. The rings.
Listen, to get in. We'll say this: it's an incredible accomplishment to get to a state championship. There's no question about it.
And that's not taking anything away. But
the medals are.
That's what they're there
that's
for.
That's what you get. That you leave it at that,
and here's the thing: what kills me is the parents. Some parents are dead set against this. They don't want them.
Yeah.
Players don't want them. But we're going to do it anyway.
I'm sorry. If you gave me a runner-up ring, I might just chuck it in the river.
Everybody gets a trophy, and it's disgusting, and it's ridiculous. But in the spirit of Christmas and giving, I gave you my thoughts, and that's all I'm going to give right now because it's disgusting. So,
let's have some fun.
Let's have some fun. It's Christmas time. which I just got a text that my kid is sick and I have to go pick her up at school. But we're going to stay in the holiday spirit for a little bit, and we are going to get into our, top 5.
She faking it.
I don't know.
She just wants to go home.
Who knows? Top 5 Christmas movies / some of us have shows. But we'll start. We'll go right to left on your screen. We'll start with Alex. We'll go to Jose. I'll finish up.
Do you want to start with the honorable mention, go up to 1, or how do we want to do this?
Yeah, let's go
honorable
bottom to
Bottom
one.
to top?
Yeah, bottom to top. Honorable mention.
And let us know what your favorite Christmas movies
Let's
are.
each do our honorable mention,
All right.
and we'll go 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Okay.
A little unconventional.
Go for
Honorable mention, Four Christmases with Vince Vaughn. Absolutely hysterical film. I recommend if you haven't seen it.
I have 3 honorable mentions.
No, you get one.
1, Jose. 1.
All right. Well, this is going to make probably all of you mad. I didn't even put it on here because I wanted to kind of share
ahead.
it. But this is
Come
an
on.
unpopular opinion. My honorable mention, not even top 5, is Elf.
Oh,
Not top 5.
I should backhand you off that
It
shit.
is
I was
honorable
thinking the
mention.
same thing.
Okay. All right. My honorable mention, and yes, it's a Christmas movie. The debate. Die Hard is my honorable
It is
mention.
a Christmas
Definitely a Christmas movie.
Yeah.
Die Hard 2 is technically a Christmas movie, but I will say Die Hard is my honorable mention. Last year it was in my top 5, but now it's not. It's not.
What is it about Christmas movies fluctuating a little bit? 'Cause
They
I feel like,
do.
I feel like
They do.
for me, my top 3 has always kind of been the same, but everything else kind of fluctuates.
You know what it is, and I'll go a little personal here. You know, a few years ago, I mean, you guys are probably aware. You know, we had some a death in the family around Christmas, so it definitely hasn't been the same. And it goes into kind of what you're in the mood for, what like really you start with the 25 Days of Christmas on Freeform and stuff, and you tend to catch that one clip of a show or the one clip of a movie that kind of finally gets you into that.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that's why a lot of this fluctuates. I'm not gonna lie. So far, I haven't watched Elf yet, and it dropped in my rankings.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like I just haven't. You see it. It depends on your mood every year. It fluctuates up and down. 5 years ago, up and from the time I met her, my wife was the absolute biggest Christmas nut. 17 boxes when we got married, moved into my house of Christmas stuff.
She's still a nut.
And she's still a nut, trust me. I love her to death, and that's one of the things I liked about her, because I needed that in my life. So, it fluctuates up and down. So that's why I think these rankings can fluctuate every year. So, all right, where are we at? Number 5?
So I think we should do our top 5.
So
All right,
go
go
up
ahead,
and down
Alex.
the whole
Straight
list.
into the top 5.
All right.
You give your top 5, you give your top 5, I'll give mine, and then we'll go back. You kind of explain
Yeah.
why things are where. So, go for it.
So we got number 5, the Jim Carrey Grinch. Got to pick the Jim Carrey one. There's a debate here. I wanted to put a Santa Claus on the list at number 4. I'm going to go with the OG original Santa Claus with Tim Allen. Number 3, I got Charlie Brown Christmas. 2, I'm going to put Christmas Vacation, and 1, I'm going to put Elf. Elf, definitely going to
That's
stay
a
at that
solid
one
list.
spot.
Solid list. So I have some bold
here we go.
decisions here in my number 5, my top 5.
Hold on. Can we switch up? Not switch up, but can we, when we're done with our top 5s, can we give our worst Christmas movie? Just one.
Oh, I don't even know.
One, what you think is the worst Christmas, or unpopular opinion of what you feel is the worst Christmas movie.
I'd have to think about that, but yeah. You
All
guys
right,
can
okay, go ahead.
first.
So, okay, go with your 5.
Number 5, I am going Home Alone. I do think I like Home Alone 2 more than Home Alone 1, which is tough because Home Alone 1
It's tough.
is great. Number 4, I'm going with Santa Claus. Another bold take. I think I like Santa Claus 2 more than Santa Claus 1.
I like Santa Claus too.
I think Santa Claus 2 has more iconic lines.
But
in
then
it.
again, the reason
does.
I love Santa Claus 1 as well, but there's also a reason that I hate Santa Claus 1, and we'll get to that here in a moment. Number 3 might be a very probably the most underrated and underappreciated Christmas movie of all time. 8 Crazy Nights, the Adam Sandler animated.
Yeah, we'll say holiday movie because
Yeah,
obviously
yeah.
it's Hanukkah.
Yeah,
but
yeah. But, so that's number 3. Number 2 is Christmas Story, always a classic, my wife's favorite movie, Christmas movie of all time. And number 1, if you know me, you know what number 1 is. It's Christmas Vacation. There's
Right.
no question. It is the undisputed best Christmas movie of all time.
Shout out to our guy Mike Darnay, who is back on Twitter, by the way.
Yes.
But he has the Christmas Vacation pops now of Cousin Eddie and Clark.
Whenever we went to Mechanicsburg for a state championship, I said, Mike, we gotta try and get your Twitter back. And finally he got it. So Mike Darnay is back on Twitter. Make sure you check out his work. But yeah, there's my top 5.
Okay. Hold on. I got to respond in our group text.
Okay. I need to think of my least favorite Christmas movie because I really don't know if I...
Good. You sit there and think about it. I'll give you my top 5.
I don't really know if I have one, to be honest.
Okay. Number 5, before your guys' time, I believe. Santa Claus the movie, the 1985 Santa Claus the movie. Just takes me back to my childhood. One of the first
back
movies.
In the 30s, yeah.
Shut up. 80s. One of my favorite movies, Dudley Moore, the elf. I forget what his name was, though. But great movie. Maybe my first, I was 8 years old when it came out. Maybe my first crush. There was a girl that played the lead. My little redheaded girl, I think I remember. That might have been my first childhood crush, actually. Number 4, Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer. You can't, the stop action, the stop animation, it was great. Number 3 for me this year is Christmas Vacation. Still always a classic. We know it. We recite it. Number 2, Elf. Again, haven't watched it yet this year. Going to make it a point to watch it this year within the next couple days. And number 1 for me is Charlie Brown Christmas. And like I said, it was one of those things where, hacking into Apple TV with my brother's login information, finally just sat and watched it, And that was the one this year that really got me into the Christmas mood for this year. So that's my top 5 so far this year.
I like it.
You like it? Okay, good.
Not too bad.
No. So do we want to do our...
Just do what's your least favorite Christmas movie?
Christmas Story.
Really? Is it because it's overplayed?
Nah, I just think it's dumb.
Did you watch the new
Now,
Christmas
granted,
Story?
as I get older, I find myself becoming the dad.
Yeah.
The swearing, the aggravation of Christmas.
You've
I
been
don't
like that for a while. But
I have, but Ralphie's annoying. Scott needed to beat him.
Did you
Scott
watch
needed to beat him.
the new Christmas?
I did
Story?
not, because I don't think I would like it, because I don't have the appreciation
Usually I would
of the first one.
I don't like the remakes of classic films, but
Right.
I did not. I liked it. I actually enjoyed it. We watched a little bit of it. It was on TV the other day, and we watched a little bit of it. But
Okay.
Worst
Yeah,
Christmas movie. I don't know. Maybe Home Alone 12.
Or
how
3 or whatever.
Home Alone 3 actually.
Stop
I don't
after
think
2.
I don't think Home Alone 3 is as bad, but
The 4th one's
the
terrible.
ones that come after that, it's just just stop.
No, they're bad.
Home Alone 3, at least okay, you have it's a different kid, but you have a different storyline. It was a little bit,
If the Wet Bandits aren't in it, I don't want to see it.
yeah. So so maybe those later Home Alones. I mean, I don't really Christmas at the Cranks. I didn't really like.
Oh,
Christmas
I like
at
Christmas.
The Cranks.
I like Christmas.
See,
I like
and it's
Fred
not like
Claus.
it's not like these are movies that we absolutely hate.
It's just I won't watch them.
It's just you don't get the appreciation of the other.
like
people
Christmas
do.
with the
I don't
Cranks.
I don't fault Bree for loving the Christmas Story. You
Right,
know what I mean?
right. Everybody
you
has
do.
what they want to watch. Every year I watch. I make sure I watch Christmas Vacation. Make sure I watch Christmas Story. Christmas Story I don't watch. We don't watch until Christmas Day.
Right. Yeah.
Christmas Vacation, I usually don't watch till Christmas Eve, but this year I needed to watch it at least 3 times because I needed to get. It took me a while to get into the holiday spirit.
See, that's what I'm saying.
And
You
I
gotta
felt
get-
like I needed.
yeah.
I basically I pressed the emergency button, and I was like, I need to watch Christmas Vacation right now.
Right.
And it made me feel better. So
Such a good movie.
It is. It's such a.
It is.
It makes me feel good.
I was just watching it the other day. I think I never noticed this until I was doing some prep work while I was watching it, getting ready for a game, and right when he the boss gives him his bonus, and it's like, oh, we'll add 20%. All you hear is Russ look over to Audrey and be like, "We're getting the pool."
Right.
I'm like,
Right.
because I was just at that point,
Well,
I was looking at my laptop listening. I'm like,
And
fantastic.
Russ, played by Johnny Galecki, of course,
Right.
from Big Bang Theory, and apparently I look like Johnny Galecki from Big Bang Theory. People continuously tell me that. I had a woman at a
don't see
store
it.
the other day tell me
Don't see
that,
it.
and then she, as I was leaving, said, "Bye, Penny," to Bree because I was with her. So,
Yikes.
But yeah, the cast of Christmas Vacation is pretty solid too.
Yeah,
It is.
It is. It's
And
good.
every year I want to dress up like Uncle Eddie for
And
Halloween.
it's one of
Merry
those movies,
Christmas.
like Elf as well. There's always something, like Alex said. You always notice something that is just like a great little thing.
Yeah.
That you didn't catch the 150 times you watched.
Oh,
it the
absolutely.
first time.
That's why I love telling people here when I throw on Christmas movies at the coffee shop. Like, we had Elf on the other day. I'm like, you realize when he's like running to the guy that looks like Santa in the middle of New York, they just took cameras and Will Ferrell went out.
He improvised all that. But did you see the deleted scene?
Yeah.
The hockey scene.
Oh, yeah. Oh,
That is
yeah.
great. It's on Twitter that they cut it out of the movie, but instead of what was it? Something else. Like they had him playing hockey against the elves,
And he's just, like,
And he's just,
absolutely-
like killing people. It's great. It's great.
So I think what we should do for
You don't want the worst?
oh no, did you say your worst?
No, it's a Christmas Story.
Really, you don't like? Christmas
I'm
Story
not.
either?
I just never got into it.
Man, Bree is definitely losing out in her battle of what
She
is
is.
the best Christmas movie because I think Christmas Vacation is definitely.
No, I love Christmas Vacation.
And me and Bree have been together for 8 years, and this is the one thing that we have consistently battled on is what is the best Christmas movie, Christmas Vacation or Christmas Story, and yeah, most of the time I win, so it's nice. So with this like top 5 worst Christmas movie characters of all time.
Villains,
Can I start?
bad characters. Yeah, go
Okay,
ahead.
I really want to start with this. Number 5, Scut Farkas.
Scott was bad.
Scott was a slime ball, but watch the second one because maybe
Yeah. Go ahead.
Number 4, the mayor from The Grinch.
Oh,
Yeah.
yeah, Mr.
Jeffrey Tambor, the actor who
Yeah.
played the mayor, was a jerk, so I don't like him. Number 3, Frank Shirley, the boss from Christmas Vacation.
Okay.
Number 2, and it kind of goes with number 1 as well. Laura and Neil from the Santa Claus.
Yeah.
Neil had bad taste in sweaters.
What kind of parents want to deprive a child of their imagination, of their love for Santa Claus, of their love for Christmas? Laura and Neil, the worst parents to ever walk on
Laura
planet Earth.
sucks.
In the second Santa Claus, they're a lot better because they know
are.
he's Santa Claus, they believe him. But, like, my thing is with the Santa Claus is this man grew a beard, gained so much weight in a matter of like 3 days.
Those are
And you didn't think that anything was wrong?
But hear me out. If you're I agree with you 100%. But if you're Tim Allen, aka Scott Cowan at this point, why wouldn't you say, "Hey, come here. I'm going to go shave. Watch what happens."
That's true. I mean, they could have ended that movie a lot quicker, to be honest. They could have actually limited it to probably just one movie and not made 3 of them.
They were good. They were
And then
good.
a bad TV show.
The movies were good.
But yeah, those are my top 5 worst Christmas characters of all time.
You want me?
Okay.
Yeah, I'm ready. All right. So number 5, and I got some hot takes on here.
I also have one other thing that I want to ask you guys after this.
I got some hot takes. So
Okay.
number 5, not a hot take. The Burgermeister Burger from Santa Claus Come to Town. Absolute scumbag of a human.
I was going to say, is he human? I was just going to say,
Or puppets.
is he a terrible human? But
I'm
he's not
looking at
human.
your-
Hey,
That's it, yeah.
Jeremy, it's like today. We have a puppet running everything.
I am looking at number 4, and I completely forgot about
Yeah.
it. Also, this is a very, I think, underrated Christmas movie as well. It's one of my favorites.
Yeah, Jingle All the Way. Ted Martin. Ted is a scumbag. Just like, listen.
R.I.P. Phil
And
Hartman.
also in like real life, if that dude's going after Arnold Schwarzenegger's wife, he's dead. Like,
Oh, absolutely.
like Arnold Schwarzenegger's absolutely going to
And-
murder him.
Sinbad's character, Myron,
Uh,
isn't any better.
I would even argue that his wife in that movie was terrible.
Yeah,
Oh, she was bad. She
great.
was bad. Yeah.
That's Tom Hanks' wife in real life.
Did you ever get the Turbo Man?
I did not.
I got my brother like the full live, like the one they came out with Funko came out like 3 years ago.
Honestly, it might still be there. We might have to take a trip over there. But yeah, I might have to get a Turbo Man Funko Pop. Yeah.
And
Next.
I got Rudolph on the list, and there's a reason why. You take Rudolph out of that one Christmas Eve. What else has he done? He's got for having the big nose, red nose.
A small sample size for Rudolph.
I need more. One Christmas doesn't do it for me. I mean, and to be honest, out of the Rudolph movies, the Bumble's my favorite. I'm a big Bumble guy.
Let's face it, Blitzen is the underrated.
I mean, that's
member of
what I'm
the
saying.
crew.
Like Rudolph's like he had all the promise, and then they wanted to throw him out just because he has the red nose, and all of a sudden, bam, we're good to go now.
Right.
Then I have, of course, Laura Miller. We talked about it. I put her at 2. I can't stand her, but there's a reason. My worst Christmas, I hate Frosty the Snowman.
Yeah.
And I'll tell you why.
I'm not a fan either.
So Frosty the Snowman, all right, right?
I don't think I have very many opinions on
So no, I got
Rudolph and Frosty.
an opinion on Frosty here. So obviously you have a magician, right? Lost his hat, right? Kids give it to Frosty. Guy wants his hat back. First of all, that's
Frosty
his.
won't give it
that's
back.
his property. Top hat's what? $150 easy, $150 for a good top hat. He's a magician. What good magician doesn't have a top hat? So there's the guy's livelihood. So you're going to put the guy in the like, basically welfare. He's going to become homeless just because Frosty won't give him the dang hat back.
What is that?
And then also in the
know
grand
what this
scheme
is.
of things,
You don't know what that is?
Santa Claus, get Emmett Otter's Jug Band Christmas. Oh my gosh!
Jose just said, I do
don't know what
not
that is.
know what that
But yeah,
is.
Frosty's
No.
scumbag, terrible. And he got the magician on Santa's bad side. So
He did.
Yeah, Frosty awful.
Yeah,
But Emmett Otter's Jug Band Christmas. That's an
clue.
absolute staple.
Disney Plus, bro. Disney Plus.
Oh
Go
my
watch it.
gosh!
All right. So we'll get to my top 5 movie villains, and these are, number 5 is Stripe from Gremlins, which is a Christmas movie as well. He just causing chaos out there, and Gizmo was too cute. You can't try to like go after Gizmo. BZ was the villain in the Santa Claus the movie from 1985, played by John Lithgow, who plays great villains throughout his life. But I mean, number one, you got to be warped to come up with exploding candy canes and want to like blow up everything. So
That's true.
my number 4 or 3, Uncle Frank from Home Alone.
Oh yeah.
What
he was
a
jerk.
tool,
Yeah,
man.
he was a jerk.
He deserved getting recorded in the shower and stuff like.
He deserved when Kevin is
Yeah.
asking for his entire family back. He's like, if he has time, my Uncle Frank.
And my Uncle Frank, yeah. I mean, yeah. Number 2, Hans Gruber, who plans a terrorist plot on Christmas Eve. I mean, you just can't do that. I would argue that Hans, he had a light side to him. Carl in that movie he's right there. Number 1, and you mentioned it, but it's Donner from Rudolph. You're the red-nosed reindeer's dad, and you wanted to cast him out on his butt right from the start, as soon as he was born.
Yeah, it is kind of a dick move.
Right? Just get out of here.
Alex
like,
and
you
Jeremy are
can't-
just not fans of reindeer.
No, I mean, you
I told you, like, dude, you got Yukon Cornelius. You
You know
got the
who-
Bumble in that movie. I mean,
right?
I'm sorry.
And you know who is the modern-day Donner? Astrid, Ahsoka's mom.
Yeah, that's true.
Casting her out.
I feel the same way.
But can we talk about how there's no Laura Miller on that list?
Can we talk about how my top 2
There
are
isn't
actual
Laura
people
Miller.
and yours are reindeer?
No, Rudolph's in 3, to be fair.
Oh, that's true.
Frosty was number 1.
Okay, reindeer and
An
a
imaginary
fictional
snowman.
Yeah, but that snowman sucks.
Right,
Oh,
but that
what-
snowman was a jerk.
I want to say 2 things. One, it is funny with Uncle Frank and Home Alone when they realize they forgot Kevin, and then Frank's just like, terrible.
Right.
Just terrible. And then 2, another underrated Christmas movie that just popped into my head, Jack Frost with Michael Keaton.
Not a fan.
You didn't like it?
No, actually, he is one of my villains.
Really?
He's on. If I had like a top 10, he'd be in that. Top
I love
10,
that.
I
I
think.
love that movie with Michael Keaton. Honestly, it's very emotional. Like
It is.
It makes me sad, but I
It
still
is.
watch it.
Yeah.
I have not watched it this season because I don't want to be sad.
I mean, can we also talk about, too, like, I give so much props to Will Ferrell for turning down an Elf 2.
Yes.
Because we talked about Home Alone, how bad they get after the first 2.
I'd say first 3.
I mean, but compared to the first 2, is the
Well,
third one hold up to the first 2?
The first 2 are classics. The third one is like
Terrible.
I disagree. I don't think it's terrible.
How many of you knew there's a Christmas Vacation, too?
I did.
It sucks.
No, I don't-
terrible.
I don't
It's
need to watch
so bad. I mean, what? You have Dennis Quaid
I don't
going to
even-
an island vacation? It's
I actually
awful.
I actually don't even like the other vacation movies, to be honest, because they keep replacing the kids.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's
in
that's
every
the
single
weirdest
one.
thing.
I did like European Vacation. Though.
It was okay.
My favorite.
Which
part-
one's the one they go to Wally World?
That's the first
That's
one.
the first one, but they're
Kids, Big
they're
Ben,
at the-
Parliament.
I don't even care about
Big
that.
kids,
That
we
and the
know
part-
Big Ben, Parliament.
The part they're in Germany and Rusty and Clark are walking along, and a guy with a big old mohawk comes out and he goes, "Dad, I'm gonna get my hair cut like that. He's like, come on, Russ, you don't want to look like a rooster, do you? Like that's like one of the greatest lines ever.
That's great.
Flew it off the tongue.
You have the Karate Kid in that.
Yeah.
Oh, he's in the movie?
Not Ralph Macchio, but the real.
Oh, the
Karate-
real
Johnny.
Karate Kid.
The real
Johnny.
William Zabka.
He was Audrey's
Sweep the leg.
boyfriend.
I do want to ask one more question. Best Christmas gift you ever received as a kid? I'll
As
give
a
you mine.
kid?
Yes. I'll
Oh,
give you mine.
it was the Castle Grayskull. It was
Okay.
yeah. It was Castle Grayskull.
I once got a
or a Nintendo.
I once
A
got a
Nintendo.
Nerf bazooka that I will always remember because it literally shot so quickly, and if you were right in front of me, it would very much hurt.
Yes.
And it was my favorite thing ever. I don't know why, but
Oh man, I mean, I think I got to go with probably the most underrated video game system of all time, the Wii.
I'm too old for that.
See what that makes.
See, mine was like the original Nintendo.
See
yeah.
that, but
The
like that would have
Atari.
been similar age. Like for me, Wii, I was probably like 10 when that came out, if maybe 8 or
And you
so.
know,
I mean-
you know what I feel in my soul? It was funny because there was a meme.
I did get a pool hockey and an air hockey table one year, same year.
There's a meme, and it's like, for some reason, Facebook knows about my loss of my dog years ago and how, and it says like all dogs go to heaven except this dog. It could go straight to hell, and it's the dog from Duck Hunt, like that laughs at you when you miss.
Yeah.
Like that dog can go straight to hell. Anyway, yeah, I'd have to say Nintendo or the Castle Grayskull. I mean, it was,
I mean, back in the day, I was big into like the wooden Thomas trains. I'd get those all the time for Christmas.
What about worst?
worst Christmas
Worst
gift.
Christmas gift. I'm throwing parents under the bus here. What do we?
Wow. I mean, I'm not starting there. You can start.
Good.
I don't really have anything bad. Like, I mean, not that I can even think of. It's like nothing.
Like,
I mean,
growing
if
up,
you
I
wanna
got
get-
one.
really like.
I got one.
I mean, maybe back in the day, getting like
I got
socks and underwear wasn't great.
Yeah,
but now
as
it's like
And
as
my
a kid,
parents,
when you
and
get
my
clothes.
parents, like if we would sit, if my brother and sister were in here, they would exactly know because I complained. I got pots and pans for Christmas one year.
As a child?
It was like the get the F out of my house. Here's your pots and pans
What
for
were you,
your new
19?
apartment. I'm probably maybe 22, but I was still in college. Like I was, still, but
I mean,
yeah, it was the absolute
You're an
worst.
adult.
Like
Go get some pots and or take your pots and pans and get
it was
the hell
bad.
out.
It was the worst Christmas ever.
I thought you were gonna like say something like when you were like a kid.
Like literally, it was
what I was trying to
like
think.
on Failure to Launch when Matthew McConaughey was just like, all right, I'm out. Like you got it, and like literally a week or two later, I was out. Like I was like, all right, I see. But anyway, I love my parents.
I mean,
so.
I think whenever like
and it's funny because I still have a couple of the pots from that set.
I think whenever I would get like boxers and socks as a kid, it's like in Christmas Story when
Yeah.
they see him and they just throw him over their shoulder.
You know what
I
though?
think that's probably it.
I would die for that now.
Oh, I
Yeah.
love it now.
I love it.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
How,
I put
how
it on like
perspective
my.
changes.
I saw something on
Our
on
gift
social
exchanges,
media.
I always
saw
write it on the
something on
list.
social media. It's like a picture of like a guy with a hole in his sock. It's like,
Yeah.
guys, your time's coming soon.
Your time's coming.
We're almost
Don't
here,
worry.
boys.
The cavalry has arrived.
5 more days.
5 more days, and we'll be good to go.
Some new gutchies, but yeah.
But yeah, exciting Christmas talk. Always good to talk about the holiday season and some of our favorite memories growing up and stuff like that. So I'm over the next couple days. I'm sure I'll watch a lot of Christmas movies.
Oh, absolutely.
Well, yeah, you're off the next freaking 3 days
yeah.
or 5 days or
So,
whatever.
that's all I'm pretty much going to be doing, which should be exciting. But
That's
anything
all
else
I
you guys
got.
want to touch on?
I don't. I know. I just want to tell everybody out there have a good Christmas and New Year.
Final
Hanukkah,
episode.
Hanukkah, Kwanzaa, whatever you celebrate.
Yeah.
I don't care. Have a good one.
Final episode of 2023.
January 10th.
Getting closer to, we will be back January 10th for the next episode, number 96 of the Valley Sports Guys podcast. Inching closer to 100. We got some things that are kind of in the chamber of where we want to go and what we want to do for our historic episode number 100.
Might be some special guests.
Maybe some special guests. We'll see what we can put together. But thank you for all your support here in the year 2023. Got some good coverage coming up over the next week of our holiday tournaments. We have
Get your merch.
Get your merch, of course.
It's not gonna stay
We're
now.
going to have soccer and football all-stars soon. We'll be talking about that here shortly.
Who
not
knows
sure,
when we're gonna get
Not
to
sure
that.
when those will get released, but they will be here. So
Alex
don't-
never sent me his.
I completely.
nominations.
Yeah.
We've
We'll
got some
get there.
nominations.
Alex is going to send them to me by the end of the day, though. So
We've gotten some
It's all good.
nominations
No
from
pressure.
coaches.
No pressure.
And so we're
I kind of forgot those.
We'll get those done here shortly.
I blame that on the website change.
We'll have a lot going on here. But thank you for all your support here in 2023. Thank you for tuning into the podcast, for tuning into all our streams on MVI Live, for picking up a paper, for just being there for us.
And remember, Laura Miller sucks.
Yes, she's not the best. But for Jeremy Salou, for Alex Lyons, thank you all for tuning in. Enjoy your holiday, everybody. Have a Merry Christmas and Happy New Year.